This is Realtor Joanna Reese. Last week, I shared my summary of the real estate market here in the Upstate based on all the data from Q1. I had pulled all sorts of charts and numbers and utilized it from various people from my brokerage to kind of summarize the key things you need to know if you're thinking about buying or selling anything in the Upstate. But one thing that I did not delve into in that last video was something I kind of discovered towards the end of all of the data review. And that's that nearly half of the home sales in the Upstate are now new construction homes, not the typical resale of homes. And that's a really big deal. That drastically impacts the market. That is probably largely some of the older houses pricing not going up as much as we had seen in the trends. I just wanted to delve into that a little bit deeper before I spoke to it. As a lot of you guys know, I'm autistic and I really like to have all the information. I think my best skill is having really good questions, and I didn't even realize that was a skill until in the last year or so, I think. But the thing that I'm really great at is figuring out everything that you would need to know, thinking ahead of what questions we should ask to prepare. I've begun an entire project that anytime, probably every week, but anytime I have spare time, I'm going to be interviewing and delving in with some of the developers of new construction here in the Upstate. I want to create a database of all of the facts about each of the developers, what they offer, and kind of have a side-by-side so that anybody considering buying, whether they're looking only at new construction or a lot of people don't even think to look at new construction. And so just to kind of have a broad overview that people can delve into to make a more informed decision about whether new construction is the best option for you. Typically, I leaned away from new construction. When I was house shopping for myself, I didn't even look at new construction because I like older homes, and some people do, but more so, I really like not having an HOA. And I will say, all of the mass producing real estate residential developers are going to have an HOA because they will come through and knock a whole neighborhood, make the plat, and then have shared landscaping space. If you're someone who plans to have chickens and goats or whatever it may be, a neon purple house, then new construction is immediately not a good one for you. But I just wanted to note some of the things that already in my initial research about new construction developers. First off, the top ones in the Upstate. As you're driving around, you see signs, you see promos, but by the numbers, D.R. Horton has been the number one residential developer several years in a row now. They're selling well over 1,000, maybe 1,500 a year. Ryan Homes tends to be right behind them in second place, again, right around 1,000 homes in the Upstate per year. And then third place is Meritage Homes. And theirs is right under 1,000, but their goal for the year is about 1,000. And then there's a ton more in the hundreds of new homes every year. And so Mungo and Lennar, SK, DRB, there's a ton. I'm going to go in order of quantity. So I'm going to try to investigate the ones that have the most homes being sold and then go down that list. But if there's a developer that isn't on my list or isn't in the one I'm going down that you would like me to delve into, just let me know. So far, I have already met with a Ryan Homes representative and a few representatives from Meritage. DR Horton is one I'm still wanting to get to since that's the top seller, but I will soon be sharing some video and a video series about each of the developers. And the questions I'm asking are trying to find what each one does different. For example, HOA. Like I mentioned, they're all going to require an HOA fee, but it can vary drastically, whether it's $200 a year or $300 a month makes a really, really big difference as a homeowner planning for your finances and also planning for what all you want to be responsible for. Do you want someone else maintaining the landscaping or do you want that to be on you? The other thing I'm asking about is timelines and speed. A lot of people who I've been working with that are selling a home are also thinking about buying a new home. And that's where it gets a little bit complicated, because we want to make sure we don't have them in a window of time where they're virtually homeless, where they've sold and haven't bought yet and they're floating. As we try to coordinate that, I've realized I know kind of the timeline to help someone who's buying and selling the traditional used inventory. But if you're buying a new home, the timeline varies drastically from one developer to another. Some of them their process is to just churn out as quick as they can. They keep hundreds currently finished and active or almost finished and move-in ready, so that you basically come in and within I think there's several that have 30-day and 60-day guarantees, where they will have you in your home by that date, where there are others that do not break ground and start construction on your home until all the contracts are signed. And so some of those are months long, and some of those always hit their deadline, and some of them, they may say 3 months, but 10 months later, you're kind of locked in and you're still waiting. That can be really, really hard. I will make sure to kind of delve into that with each of the developers. Location is important. Again, some of these developers have communities in every part of the upstate, from Spartanburg to Anderson to Pickens to Gray Court, wherever, where some are just focused on specific areas. I will cover that as well with each of the developers. A big one that people ask about is how much customization options. And that really relates a lot, from what I'm finding, to the timeline. The developers who come in and have it preset that they're just going to build and then sell it as they're building, there's not a lot of customization options for most of those. They're building them as the model. Some of those will allow minor optimizations. Maybe it's the hardware for your kitchen or the paint color, but I will delve into that with each builder, as some of them are basically a semi-custom option where they have a floor plan, but you're picking the colors, the flooring, the light fixtures. You're really involved in that process. And when that happens, it's a longer timeline to actually get it ready to move in, but it feels a lot more like you're getting your dream home instead of something off the shelf. What else? Oh, quality. This is a big question. Of course, every developer is going to say, I have the highest quality homes. I will ask each developer to tell me what they do or have that speaks to their quality. And I will try to read between the lines, but also do a bit of research in Reddits and Google reviews to see what current people living in those homes have to say about it. Because sometimes those two things don't always align. A lot of the developers will claim high quality, but they're using really cheap materials. And there's some nightmare stories I've heard about of walking into a new construction home that was just nails popping out of the wall, floor piece, transitions missing, moisture issues from day one. And it's really important that you do that due diligence, because you definitely don't want to get into a new home that you're dealing with problems and repairs out the gate. And that also connects to warranty. Pretty much all of the new home builders are offering warranties, but they vary in multiple ways. One, by length. Is it a year? Is it 10 years? Is it covering only major systems, or does it cover everything? Do they actually follow through on it? There are some companies who claim to have these wonderful warranties that last forever. They cover everything. But when you actually start asking the people who bought these homes and needed to use that warranty, we're very often hearing stories of them being passed in circles and ignored and put off, them using loopholes to not actually fulfill the warranty coverage. And I want to make sure that if you are getting a new home, you kind of know what warranty is actually included and what your rights are, to make sure that you get your bang for your buck. That is what I am currently working on. If you are someone who is currently considering a new construction home, or buying and it just hadn't even really thought about new construction, be sure to follow along. Like I said, in the coming weeks, I'll be sharing videos about each of the different developers around the upstate and what I have discovered. I look forward to telling you more. Please let me know if there's additional questions that you would want to know, comparisons. I'll also be getting price ranges, of course, the square footage ranges, all those kind of things, so that you can truly look at all of the builders side by side to find which one is the right one for you. All right, thanks, and I will talk to you guys later.